On this episode, guys, we are going to be pulling the front diff out of this bad boy finally, setting up the new one, getting the radius arms exactly where we need for the flipped long radius arms, doing all of our front diff housing modifications, and then getting it straightened, ready to roll back in the car. We're going to jump in now. I've got gloves on because it is freezing. It's like 3 degrees in Canberra. Perfect weather. I went and brought some jack stands, 8-ton jack stands with a pretty tall hold up weight because I'm going to hold this car up while I drop the diff in and out. I just took a few measurements where this is sitting at ride height. I also got the big jack stands in sitting at ride height at the moment, just so the chassis doesn't move, but I want the diff to move freely up and down, so I'll have to take the wheels off and just drop the diff on the ground, disconnect everything, slide the diff out, slide the new one in. I had 477 millimeters from the ground to the base plate of the coil hat on the diff. That was pretty much the closest sort of thing I could get to being straight because my housing's bent, so I'm not sure exactly where it's bent, but I checked both sides and they're pretty close to identical. So 477 mil. So when I go put the new diff in, I'll put it on jack stands without wheels on it, measure to the coil hat, so then the diff is at ride height as well as the car or the chassis being at ride height. I'll throw you under here and you can have a quick look at what I've done. So to the bottom of that coil hat from the ground, 477 millimeters. So we'll go and rip everything off this now and slide this diff out. So we are just playing process of elimination here, just getting all the steering arm, panhard, radius arms, brake lines, all that sort of stuff off, and then I'll drop the wheels off, hopefully drop the diff on the ground, and that's enough for the coils and shocks to come out, and then the diff should come out, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Cannot get panhard out. We need leverage bar. We got everything loose now. Radius arm bolts, I've just left 2 in and the chassis end for now, just so the diff didn't roll on me with tires on it. I'm gonna go lower this side and then hopefully I can pull the coils and the diff straight out. All I did with this shock is I just took the bolt out from underneath on the bottom end of the diff, and hopefully this gives me enough down travel so the shock doesn't sit in the hole anymore, but we'll find out when we lower this, won't we? Just nice and slow and steady, because I don't know what's going to happen. My shocks literally only just let go. I don't think I've been using my full down travel this entire time. That's how close it is to when my diff is on the ground. I definitely haven't been using my entire down travel, so hopefully with the new long flipped arms I get more down travel, which would be great, and potentially might get more up travel if I cut the inner guards, because I've cut my flares anyway to suit 37s, so I may try get some more up travel. I'll see how it goes. Just like that, front diff's out. That was actually a lot easier than I thought. So now what I'm going to do is lift this diff up that I have, go sit it in there, put it on some jack stands, get the pinion angle correct, and then I can tack weld the radius arm mounts on. Once I tack weld them on, I'll pull it back out and do everything out of the car. So now we just need to lift this sucker up. Well, now the housing's in, I'm going to go and measure from the ground up to my coils, or the coil seats, and then I can tell if it's at ride height where it sits. Then I can adjust my pinion angle, bolt the radius arms in, sit them on, sit the mounts on, tack weld it on, pull it back out, weld everything all over here, which will be nice and easy. Bracing, everything, GU center, knuckle gusset, or the knuckle braces, so there's little braces to go under the knuckles because they're the weak points. That's what I bent on the other housing. Then I can build that diff, put it back together, put some wheels on it. My spider gears are coming in like a week for my Patrol diff, my Patrol hybrid diff. So then I'll be able to build that and have the front end done. 477 mil. So at the moment, I'm 490, so I've got to come down 20 mil. So, oh, that's pretty close. Leave the hammers, please, Millie. 476, that's pretty close. I like that. So it's currently 400 and 478. Oh, went 476 to about 480. So, hello.
No.
How are you?
I love you.
I love you too. Mwah.
I love you.
It's pretty goddamn close. 476, 77 on one side, and then 479, 480 on this side.
Whoa.
So I'm going to go put this on the kingpin bearing. That's what you're going to get. That's your caster. So on your kingpin bearing, you're going to have it slightly set back a little bit. So then that way it sort of drives on the back of the wheel, not the front of the wheel, if I'm correct. If I'm not correct, I'll let you know, but that's my plan. Go put this on top of it, then I can weld my mounts on. We're going to go and work out our caster now. I'll check the caster. I've got another jack stand here, so when I twist the diff, I can wedge it, something under it to hold it at the correct caster angle. Then I'll go cross check everything. Then I'll bolt the radius arms in and make sure that it's all Mickey Mouse perfectly straight and square as much as I can get it without a laser or anything like that, because I've got no idea. So I've just got this little flat plate here. It's an L angle. Then I'm going to sit on top of my kingpin bearings, and that way I can then put the magnetic level on it to work out my caster. So you want positive caster, which positive means you want it leaning more back. Negative is forward. Anywhere from about 3.3 to about 5.3 is sort of like your maximum. So I'm going to probably aim for like a 4.5, 4.8. So it's going to be overcasted, which hopefully should get it steering a bit better on the road. All right, this side here, we've got 4.3 degrees of caster. This side here, we are 4.5, 4.6 degrees of caster. So pretty good. So caster's set. I've got a jack holding this here. I put the rear tie rod in, so it tied the knuckles together at the same distance. That's out of the car previously, so should be set perfectly. I've got a strap on the front of the diff on the other side just to hold the caster that direction. And then this one sort of holds it that direction. We'll get our tape measure and measure a few points here. So I'm going to go to the hole in the center of the coil, and then I'll go the center of the tie rod, just from the radius arm mount itself. 520 to the tie rod, to the center, and then to the center of the coil, 739 mil. All right, center of tie rod, 521, and center of coil hat, 738. So this one here needs to come back 1 mil. So that's pretty good now. I've cross-checked everything multiple times. Now what I'm going to do is bolt my radius arm cross member in, because they're the long arms, so I've got to mount that rear one in, and then sort of sit the radius arm there so I can work out where the mount goes to then tack them on, pull the diff out, and do it all again. I'm just trying to work out the orientation on this bad boy, seeing if it goes on top, underneath. What is the geo? Let me get my battery. I'll tension everything softly and make sure it's right. It also comes with a mad new little transfer case bash guard, and I've never had one. It's made out of like 6 mil, maybe 10 mil. This is looking freaking awesome. Who needs a hoist when you got the ground? We got everything bolted in now. I worked it out. The cap head bolts were for like the tight little spaces, because every car's obviously going to be slightly different. Instead of the 2 cap head bolts, I just used the 2 skinny bolts that I had on the head already. But that is entirely bolted in. Transfer case, guard, cross member, radius arm mounts, they're all dropped in now. Mickey Mouse fucking clubhouse. Radius arms are in. I cross-checked a few measurements again. Casters in, everything's sort of just sitting there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack the mounts on now. Time to rip everything back out. Exciting. A little bit heavier now. Thanks, welder, for being loud. Hopefully you can hear me over that welder. Now I can burn these on, take my bracket off, burn everything. You think diff oil smells bad when it's in the diff? Wait till you get burning diff oil. That was fucking horrendous. They're welded on. I'm going to take the brake T-joiner out. That's what it's called. It's called a T-join, I believe, or a brake joiner, I don't know. Take that out, and then we're gonna go whack our truss on up the top. So with the truss that's going on top here, if I butt it in to the pumpkin, I have like a 20 mil gap from the radius arm mount. So what I'm thinking is going hard to the radius arm mount and then just putting like a little cut in this just so I can bend the top of this towards the pumpkin a little bit more and close the gap. And then it's like a full solid unit rather than a gap at one end where it will sort of just slope into this. And then I can sort of weld that bit closed on the end cap there. So yeah, like that's nice fitment there. And then it's a little bit shy there, but if I go there where it's designed to be, it has a gap there, and I don't like that myself. So what I'm thinking is back like that, and then putting a little cut like that in it, and then tapping this last bit down so it still molds with that and it'll fit nicely. It actually already has a riv nut in it for the brake tee. Then I just got to put a little cap there to fill that hole. Well, now that we got our trusses welded on top and our radius arm mounts, we're going to go put our ring conversion on. So on the inside here, you'll see there's two locating dowels which go a certain way, and they go over two of the existing diff bolts, and then you're able to work out what you've got to cut out to put the new center in. So I've already gone and marked all of this. I'm going to go chop it all out now. Once I finish chopping it out, I'll tack weld this on, and I'm going to drop the center in so I can see if there's anything I need to cut on the front side. Once I got that in as well and cutting sitting in there, I can then work out which faceplate I'm going to put on it. So I've got the old one off this one, and then I've also got the GQ down the backyard. Well, we got everything cut out that we needed to, rings polished in, the center fits nicely, it spins around freely. It's Sunday and all the steel shops are currently closed, so I can't do the front face. I'll grab some steel tomorrow so I can do that. I'm gonna custom make one up because the 80 series one, the pinion's not in the right spot for starters. It's also like 20 mil out, hanging out. It's not wide enough for where the Patrol center cuts through the front. Then the GQ housing down the back, I had a quick measurement. It actually looks like it wouldn't fit either. I think what it is this housing here is skinnier than what a Patrol housing is. The width of it is smaller than a Patrol housing, so that equates for if I cut the face off, I'm still not going to have the depth. Then I was playing with this piece of diff armor that I got and sitting that on. And then what I was thinking is I will get some 6mm, same as this. So then one, I don't need diff armor. Two, it's rock solid and it clears perfectly. It'll be the same sort of shape. What I'll do is I'll put a couple grind marks in the piece of 6mm that I get and then bend it and then weld it all. Same as what this is pretty much. And do a whole face. I'm currently just finding a couple little pieces on the ground here because there's some bits here that have pretty big holes in them. Where the crown wheel goes, top and bottom, I cut a little bit too much out. So I'm just finding some pieces of 6mm to fill the hole, so I'm not filling a massive hole and then welding the 6mm to both bits. Then I can put my brace on, which I've actually got just here, which would be nice on the bottom of this diff. Pretty close to done except for the front. Well, we're back. I went and seen the medic. I just taped it up, put some antiseptic spray on it. Probably could have dealt with stitches because as soon as I moved my knuckle, it was just splitting right open, but should be right. Let's continue trying to cut this bit of metal and not cutting my thumbs. or fingers. I need my fingers. Keep fingers well clear. We got our little knuckle gusset brace here. So it's like 10 mil steel, 180, 200 mil long, maybe 250. And what it does is it goes right here on the bottom of your diff, connects to your knuckle, and then you weld it out to the bottom of your diff housing. And if you turn your knuckle like this, you can see where it's not going to foul. Your knuckle will generally have like a triangle mark on it from where it's dirty and it's been moving before. I'll give you a little close-up look on where it's sitting and how it's going to get welded out. So I fully thought that I was recording when I hit my thumb with the grinder. That's why I had my little medic first aid situation on my thumb. I was just grinding a little bit of metal and I slipped off and cut the top of my knuckle. So that's what happened with that. Be careful with the grinder. Today I went and got my 6mm plate for my face, my pumpkin. I'm going to go bolt this GU, the Patrol center back in, and then I'm going to start mocking up my first middle part. And then what I'll do after I mock the middle part up is I'm going to go from there and start doing like my bottom section of the pumpkin and the top section. They're going to be the fiddly parts because they're going to be small little triangles and stuff. 130 wide, 6mm, and they're both in 1 meter long. So 130 and 100 mil. So if I can get 130 in that center section, great. If I can't, it'll be 100, and then I've just got 6mm plate laying around in case I need it for anything. So I'll give you a demo on how I'm bending these. I'm using the back of my car. I'm using my tow bar and my chassis. It's not bad. It's pretty close. Let's go see how it fits. A little bit too much bent. So see how that needs to be a little bit wider? Yeah. So this one and this one, I'll just bend them out a little bit. This is actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be way harder, but as you can see, I've sort of got the top section done. I just got to do the bottom section, which is going to be identical, hopefully. I don't know, we'll see. It's going to be rock solid and it's going to be sick. Good signs, it's smoking out of each end and there is no smoke seeping out of any of my weld joins there, which is great. Heat's coming out the end. Now, you're probably going to laugh at me, but while I got my helmet on, I can't really see shit in here. That's why I've got my little Milwaukee torch just there. There's a section where I fully thought I was welding one of the joins, but I wasn't. So you'll see it and you'll have a little giggle. I'll give the welds a little bit of a polish just to get a bit of the chunky bits off. And I will definitely polish that back there. I fully thought I was welding this, but I was welding there. Old rubber ducky reporting here, rubber McDuck. Well, we're gonna wrap that one up right there, guys. Before it starts to become too much of a video, I believe it's going to be pretty long with all the filming and stuff. It's a very technical sort of thing to do, and I don't want my videos being too long. So I'm going to wrap it up there. When I get time to run up to mats, I've got to run up to mats during the week. So when I get time or a day off work, I'll run that up there. I will film the process so you guys can see how straightening a diff happens. But as you can probably see here, we have a Patrol center in. All of our Patrol studs are put on. That's bolted in. I've got a fill plug in the front of it. With my fill plug, all I did is I just got a new M18 bolt. So the factory one's an M18. I got an M18 bolt and nut, drilled perfect hole, welded the nut on the inside, and then it's just gonna fix to it. If I have any slight leaks, I'm going to put some gasket maker when I put it on. As for getting my fill level, what I did is I ran the level across the diff when I had it sitting at pretty close to the correct caster on the trestles here. Then what I did is I measured down off the back of my level to roughly where I wanted my oil level to come up to, and then I measured down on the front, and it was pretty close to what the Patrol was down the back. So it's slightly over center of the diff line. But worst case with that is if I'm too much, I can just drain a little bit and have it a little bit less than the fill hole. If I went too little, I couldn't fill it up past it. So I went on the taller end of things, but it should be fine. See how we go. But yes, that is the end of this episode, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this one, and I will catch you guys on the next one, which hopefully I'm going to be ripping into my tray build next.